The agreement is expected to allow American farmers to...
Trump got so much going on, bro. He got to deal with Britain and deal with China. I can't even find the latest one. I guess I just got to hit the top one.
Hello, everyone. I am Tom Shalhoub, along with Molly Line, Lydia Hu, and David Webb. And welcome to a special edition of the Big Weekend Show. Tonight's story. It's all about the art of the deal. The Trump administration has announced a trade deal has been reached with China. This comes after the president hailed the great progress made during yesterday and today's meetings in Switzerland. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jamieson Greer detailed the negotiations earlier today.
We made substantial progress between the United States and China in the very important trade talks. We will be giving details tomorrow, but I can tell you that the talks were productive.
The president declared a national emergency and imposed tariffs, and we're confident that the deal we struck with our Chinese partners will help us to work toward resolving that national emergency.
This all comes as President Trump is set to take his first trip to the Middle East during his second term. The president is set to visit with leaders from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates starting Tuesday, as the U.S. held another round of nuclear negotiations.
All right, cool. So, Jonathan, this is what happened here, right? So we already know that the tariffs for China were is insane, right? It was 145% that we had imposed onto them, right? So now we've reduced it by 30%. Now I believe we're at 10% tariff, right? Is it 10% or is it 30%? I think it might be 30%, actually. I'm sorry. 30% because we got 20% on them for like the fentanyl stuff, right? So we went from 145 to 30%, okay? And then China went from 125%, and I believe, if somebody can correct me in the comments, are they at, I thought they were at 30%. Were they at 30%? And then we were at 10%, right? I think China then rose it down to 30%, and then we were at 10%. So they were in the hundreds for the tariffs. Now they slashed that. They put a 30-day pause on it. They're going to work through the details. Here's the thing. The fact that China is even opening up the discussion. Remember, China was saying that they didn't want to talk to us in April. This wasn't going to go down. And so then you've seen the stock market, take a dip, right? Because it's all manipulated anyway, right? And so when we seen that, everyone was saying, see, the Trump's tariffs don't work. Look what he's going to do. They start on CNN taking off their shoe, talking about this is made in China and this is going to be more. Everyone started to overreact a little bit to the beginning of a deal, the beginning of something that they didn't understand. So now China's saying we're open to talks. They talked when they were in, was it Geneva? They talked when they were there, and now the stock market is going crazy because what's going to probably happen is you're not going to see that inflation that they were talking about you were going to see in April. You're not going to see that. Your iPhone's going to be $3,000. You're not going to see that. They were fear-mongering you guys. Because that's what works. That's what gets you to hate Trump. And then now you've seen that if you look at your stock market now, people's 401ks are back to normal, if not making more than what it was just down in April. So think about it. Did you really lose money? It was just 3.5 weeks ago. It feels like an eternity, but it was just 3.5 weeks ago. And if it continues to rise, this will be a drop in the bucket when it comes to Trump's economy. So is Trump right about his tariffs? To answer your question, Jonathan, yes. Because if China never had this talk, the deal would still be in place that Joe Biden had. They wouldn't understand how serious someone is. So what the part that I don't understand from the left-wing media is if he's been able to get China to the table, force them to lower their tariffs, and what if they lower it even more? or they stop all this other stuff that China's doing that is pretty much violating the trade agreement, if they can get them under control, then this was worth it. Definitely if we're bringing jobs back and America wins. Most people want to see America winning, y'all. We want to see America winning. We're tired of being taken advantage of and knowing that. And no one's doing anything in the White House. So I get that a lot of people, right? Davy Crockett, Isaiah, and maybe even Jonathan. I know you guys hate Trump, right? However, he's doing the things that Democrats have spoken about, but they didn't have the balls to do it. This is on video of people like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Bernie Sanders saying the things that Trump is doing. So they obviously meant it, or maybe they were just lying to you like a regular politician does. But the difference is Trump is actually doing the things that they have said, including slashing 90% of the drug cost. But you know what I find so funny? And I mentioned this in the beginning of the show, but I got to tie it in because I'm going to turn this into a video. Instead of talking about Trump and what he's done with the China deal, which we've been waiting for, the media wants to talk about the gift that was given to him from the Qatar leadership of a plane.
Interesting. Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
Only ABC. Well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us. I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. There was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear of him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto: when they give you a putt,
you take it.
You say, thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. Then they putt it and they miss it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that, Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
Respectfully, sir, as a businessman.
And so this is what the media is going to decide to talk about for the remainder of the week. It's not going to last too long. The story doesn't have legs. It's really stupid. It's nothing but a distraction to get you off of the China deal. Listen, man, I'm not no dummy. They don't have anything to talk about. Trump has brought back, I think they said, the last hostage from Israel. He did like 3 other things, including the China deal. It's too much good news going on for Trump. They got to find something that's controversial, and this is the thing. I'm going to answer your question in 1 second, Jonathan. I see you, man. I see you. But this is how they keep you having squirrel brain. This is how they keep the Democrats having squirrel brain. They pump you guys with irrelevant facts that wouldn't even matter. What does it matter that he got a plane? It was gifted to him. He took the plane. And then when he's done with his presidency, he says he's going to donate it to the Trump library. Why do I care about him having a plane? There's people that buy planes as tax write-offs, Section 179 in the tax code. They buy freaking planes, Grant Cardone, just so that they can not pay taxes. So why do I care that someone gifted him a plane? Why do I care if he even bought a plane? He's a billionaire. I don't care about these things. Why does the normal American who can't afford a seat on a plane, you can barely afford a seat on Delta, but then you're worrying about why Trump got a plane? If y'all don't get the heck on somewhere, it doesn't matter. This is not news. What you should worry about is what actually is going on in the economy and how inflation is slowing down. And it's not freaking ballooning like Joe Biden had us going crazy with. You should care about the interest rates, your mortgage rates being able to go down and have a better interest rate. You should be focusing on things that matter for the American people. We complained about eggs for 4 years. Eggs are going down. Great news. Gas is going down. Okay, that's better news. We don't need to worry about him gifting a plane. The stock market went up. That's a good sign. Worry about that. This is not news, people. And anyone that I hear talk about him, he got a plane. How you feel about that? Isn't that corruption? I don't give a damn about a plane. Joe Biden took millions of dollars while he was vice president. That went right up under the radar. He probably bought all type of stuff. And I don't care. I just know what he did was straight up corrupt because he used, it was called peddling as a vice president. Nobody wants to talk about that, though. Care about no plane. Somebody gave him a plane. Cool. They got a bunch of money, gave him a plane. Big deal. What do I care about it? That's rich people problems, man. That's rich people problems. I can't afford no plane. I'm trying to get my family on a plane. Just 4 seats, please. All right, so Jonathan says this, right? So Jonathan says, you're still not explaining what he was right about. Still, what was he right about? What do tariffs do? Explain. He was right about the trade, the unfair trade system that we have. How China is literally taking everything that we make. They steal our IP. They're doing things against the trade agreement. And so he's trying to fix it. Do you really want me to play the video from Nancy Pelosi when she said the same thing that Donald Trump is saying right now? Like, Jonathan, I'm going to have to do so. It's in my notes. Don't worry about it. I ain't got to go too far. So what he's doing is he's fixing the trade system. So in order to fix a problem, you have to address the problem. And the problem is that the tariff is too high, that they're also stealing our IP, and they have an unfair trade system. So he's dealing with it. Everybody has different trade agreements. Some people, they're just going to be a straight tariff for tariff number because there's nothing there. For other people, there's a little bit more to that deal. You can't just say, hey, China, take your tariffs to 0 and we're done. No, because then they're making all other stuff that they're making money from and taking jobs from us. So we're making tariffs to do what? Here's the answer to your question, Jonathan. You create those tariffs so that people create jobs inside the United States, so they don't get tariffed, because tariff is like a tax. And guess what companies don't like? To pay unneeded money. Why did Hyundai, why is the AI chip company coming to Arizona and coming to America? Because of taxes. Because of tariffs. Why is there so much foreign money coming into the United States? Because of tariffs. Companies don't want to pay extra money for tariffs on their products.